Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So we have a quorum. So I hereby call this public hearing for your Committee on Commerce and Tourism to order. Can I get a motion to adopt today's agenda?
Second.
It has been seconded. Um, Discussion to the motion? Ready? Okay. Those in favor of the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Today's agenda has been adopted. Um, I would like to introduce the members of your Committee on Commerce and Tourism. Rep. Selina Babalta from Precinct 1. Rep. Richard Lizama from Precinct 5. And I'm here. I'm the chair for this committee. Rep. Yang Tumay, Precinct 3. I'd like to also recognize the staff of our LB. Legal Counsel, Brendan Late. Senior Legal Assistant, Ms. Clarissa Sablan. Our Sergeant at Arms, Sergeant Tawai. IT Manager, Mr. Delbert Kamatsu. Did I miss anyone? Okay. Please be advised that even though we are on recess, our FB Live will continue streaming. Before we move on, we'd like to, if there are no objections, I would like us to move into the new business. Then we get into public comments later. Okay, let's move on then. Uh, we will have our presenters from the mayor's office um, do their presentation, educate us. Yes, sir. Mr. Henry Hofschneider. Where are they gonna stand? Oh, there. Yeah. Okay. And Janice uh, Celis. Welcome. Oh, this is about HB 22-82. Sorry. To adopt the village delimitation and name master map for Saipan as the sole village delimitation and name master map of Saipan, and to provide for the office of the mayor of Saipan to be the primary custodian for maintaining and preserving the master map, and for the Department of Commerce, Central Statistics Division to be the secondary custodian, and for other purposes. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Magdalene, and members of the Standing Committee on Natural Resources for the Tourism.
Commerce and tourism for now.
And welcome to the member of public we have today. Good evening, members to the public who are here this evening in support of our annexation to the passage of House Bill number 22-82 titled Saipan Village Limitation and Amnesty. It is our hope that the bill will receive support from everyone here this evening so that our island of Saipan with once and for all have a standardized village delimitation and name master. Implementation of the Saipan street naming and addressing map, which we began on August 3rd, 2020, require, as we soon realize, assignment of street address numbers progress, that village boundaries must be established to accurately assign street addresses. Address numbers to homes, commercial and non-commercial buildings. Currently, no maps available that define village boundaries and names with some certainty. As the implementation of the Adjournment project moves from the center of the village towards its periphery, the path to make as to which village to use becomes more challenging. We will need a map that identifies the boundaries of the one village from an adjoining village and boundary. Cycle local law number 21-14 enacted on June 17, 2020. Repeal cycle local law 5-6 in its entirety and amended cycle local law number 11-3 as amended. Charged that cycle mayor's office will give responsibility to develop and implement the cycle street naming and Atchison master. Before the repeal and amendments to cycle local law numbers 5-6 and 11-3, the Department of Public Works was tasked to keep and maintain the street naming master. We have no information whether DPW performed its responsibilities as charged by the two local laws, but we found out that no one had the master map that was adopted in 1998 and maintained it since then and up to June 17, 2020. Today, we have incurred more than $200,000 in developing the second street naming and addressing master map. Geographic information system trainings, procurement computers, AutoStat and GIS licenses, vehicles, and many more. To start a cycle naming and addressing project at this point, because we lack a standard village delimitation and name master map, would be a disservice to taxpayers and a huge waste of public funds. We cannot, independent of any accepted standard village boundary and name master map, or any government-approved map, assign any street address number as being located in a village without knowing for sure what it is. Guessing which village one is in will not work at all. We need the draft standard village delimitation and name master map adopted by statute, as House Bill number 22-32 intends to do. In our letter of September 16, 2021 to Speaker Villalobos, and in our December 14, 2021 letter to Representative Sheila Babato, who chairs the Standing Committee, or the Natural Resources Committee, Standing Committee, we highlighted a statutory standard village delimitation and name master. We believe this committee has read our letters and agree with us that there must be no other way of reasonably making sense of the site and street naming and addressing master map without a statutory rule about the village boundary and name master map. Vice Chair Yangamai and members of this standing committee, we will be pleased to answer questions you might have about House Bill 22-82 following a short presentation on the purpose of the standard map and how it was developed. We want to make one thing very clear in this hearing. The proposed standard map that shows the boundaries and names of villages is a project of many hours of difficult work that our office and the Department of Commerce Central Statistics Division. The agency tasked, among many other responsibilities, to carry out the cinemized decennial census extended over a couple of months. The names of the villages shown on the map could be different, and we will not be offended if this committee or any member of the public wish to use other names. It is up to you. Thank you to this person and this.
Thank you, Mr. Hofschneider. Do we have any discussion? I recognize Rep. Babauta.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mr. Hofschneider, and welcome to the Office of the Mayor of Saipan. A question to the chair, actually, is Central Statistics Division represented here? Is there anybody from the Central Statistics Division? No? I don't know who works for them, so if you recognize anybody, that's why I'm asking. Okay. I have a question, Mr. Hofschneider. Oh, I'm sorry, for the record, can you state your name and position? and who you represent.
Thank you. I'm Henry Hoffman. I'm the Special Assistant to the Mayor's Urban Youth and Habitat. Let me introduce the staff of our site.
That'd be great.
Naming and Majesty Division.
Okay.
Right here is Ms. Janice Sellis, Ms. Becky, also signed for us,
Hmm.
Katanaukshin Apathy, and right over there is JC. My gosh, Radian. I don't know if I pronounce this.
Okay, thank you. I noticed on your handout, the one with the graphics, it says, and I don't know what page number is because it's not paginated, but it's the part where it says street addresses must include name of village. And I'll give you a second to get to that particular page. I don't know what page it is. 3, 4. It's the
While,
7th page.
while we are looking for the page, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Rep. Corina Magofnia, Precinct 3. Welcome.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, the first bullet point, it says a street address must include name of village. I just have a question. Has the Office of the Mayor of Saipan held any discussions or meetings with the United States Post Office that including a village name would be a little more efficient for the delivery of mail from coming in from anywhere outside Saipan?
We've not had any personal or in-person communication with the USPS postmaster. We sent them a letter, or her, a letter, 2 years ago, or a year and a half.
Okay.
Not heard anything from the postal office.
Okay. There was, okay, and then 1, 2, 3 pages after that, it says the second PowerPoint, I guess the title of this page is No Modification to Election Precinct Map and Name of Sub Areas. And I'll give you a few seconds to get on that page. On the second bullet point, it says sub-areas and villages retain names but not shown on standard village delimitation and name master map. Can you give us an example of that?
Sub areas, okay, can I just refer to the maps over there?
Okay, there's
Map
5
number
up
one.
here. Huh?
Map number 1, we
Okay.
have a small number right at the top right, left corner.
Okay,
That's the 2020 census map.
okay,
That's what our Central Statistics Division used to conduct the 2020 census in Saipan.
okay,
And for a long time, that agency has used this map to count the population in areas in Saipan. They call the small pockets there or small areas sub areas like Fadang or Panadero or Chinatown, Aspalapi. Those are sub areas.
okay,
When our team and the Central Statistics Division or CSD worked on creating the 34 villages, that's map number 2, CSD recommended that we group, I mean, those sub areas would remain where they are. We're not going to change anything. However, Central CSD has outlined the sub areas. They would remain. The proposed village map showing 34 villages would not change anything. We didn't change any of their boundaries, their configuration. So it's still a map that census would use if they so choose for the next 10-year census.
And then I'm sorry, I heard in your comments that, let me see if I can remember, something to the effect that, And I was going to ask for an example of it. I can't think of it right now, I'm sorry. But I will yield for now, Madam Chair.
All right. Thank you, Rep. Babota. Any more questions? Yes, I recognize Rep. Lizama.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairwoman. Okay. Okay. Like what you mentioned about having a street name, I'm quoting a village. A street name, for example, is 1002 Kobler. Do you expect another 1002 Lizama in Garapan? Is that the reason why you have to put village on it?
It's possible. In the past, we've seen how a local delegation has changed a name that was given a street back in 1998. And as time went on, the local delegation changed names to people, to places. So it's possible. I won't tell you that it's not. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that there is going to be a Lizama Street in Garapan. But you're going to find that address if you have a village name. You cannot just have a Lizama 1222 Lizama Street. Sorry,
But I thought that every village, like Tagman, has fruit name.
Right.
And then on Kobler, they go by last name or something, or even San Canoa. That's the reason why I'm asking you why that you have to put a village. So if that's the reason why that you are going to put the village name on it, then I understand. Thank you. I hear back.
Okay, thank you, Rep. Lizama. Yes, Mr. Ha, you have a question. Go ahead and okay.
Thank you for giving me opportunity to ask a question, two questions to Mr. Hope Schneider. And question one is, what is the basis of the map making? When you make your map, is it based on the population or any other information? And then what's the basis of the, your map, proposed map? How did you make? And then when you make the map, what data did you use?
Can you get the-
proposed village map? This one. When you make this, what's the main information?
Answer that question. CSD, Central Statistics Division, and our office work together and try to minimize the number of villages that we can come up with. So by grouping the different areas in Saipan, there was no magical formula or a scientific formula of doing it. It was just all agreeing that Garapan, for example, would cover an area. So we didn't look at population, we didn't look at the number of businesses that were in that village or area. It was just for convenience. Having 34 villages as opposed to 73 villages. Central Statistics Division's census map has 73 villages. Can you imagine that on a 47 square mile island? As opposed to having 34 on a 47 square mile island. You have a larger area. But 73, you have I calculated this one, 0.6 square miles per area of that 47 square mile area of land. So there's no scientific, there's no one method that the state sites, USPS, the United States Postal Service, or National Geographic agencies have developed.
At this point, I'd like to make a suggestion or maybe question then, do you have until now, when you make the proposed map, how many maps did you make? Only one, that one, only one, or did you have some more?
For this bill that we asked the speaker to sponsor and introduce in the House, we made only one map, and that's number 2, the proposed village map, 34 villages. We're not going to propose any more. What's the use of having more than one?
Then I'd like to make a suggestion. Yes, we, the public, people are very thankful for the officials' hard work for people and the community, but there should be, in a sense, enough time for education on the public. And when you start making that map, you should have provided some opportunity for people to know, yes, in the mayor's office, this is going on. And then from the beginning step, the public should know about that. Until now, we didn't have any information. And when we talk about the result of the hard work, there should be some multiple results. So if the mayor's office made 3 or 4 maps suggestion, then the public, the people can see and then compare. And this is good. The other one is better. Then there can be a more efficient discussion time. So if we have only one proposed map, people cannot make any comment. Only one? Oh, no other choice? No alternative? Oh, this is no good situation. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ha. I just want to share that we, like you saw it. Where did you see the announcement? On the TV?
Just in the legislature website. So after that, I checked Maran Variety website and Saipan Tribune.
Nothing? Oh, you were gonna say something about the press conference? Yes, go ahead.
When we spoke
Mr.
earlier, I
Option.
think last week, I suggested that Mayor and I have a press conference with our staff to discuss the proposed map so that the public would have an advance notice of this public hearing. We didn't get around to doing that. We were so tied up with other things. But I'm thinking of having a public or press conference maybe Thursday this week. We'll invite the local TV and the 2 papers on Island to go over this proposed map. You know, I don't remember how many times we shared with the reporters, local newspapers, but this proposed bill came out a couple of times, I think. There was a member of the public that called and wanted to share her concerns about naming one village as being, or whatever the name is shown on that map, it's not the map, the name that we should give that village or that village should be known by.
How many comments did you have from the public?
We've had several calls. I cannot remember. I don't record all of them.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Hauptschneider. Yes, Rep. Selena. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I remembered what I was going to ask. You were talking about street naming and how you were working from the inner core of the areas, numbering them and naming the streets. And then as you approached the perimeters of those boundaries, you had a difficult time. Can you give us an example of why? And maybe that'll explain better why we need a village boundaries?
With that many. Just last week, JC and Russell were over at. Now, your guess is better than mine. Their guess is better than mine. The homeowner who said he lives in this village, not in this village, might be better. They were in Esperito last week to assign one street address number to a home. The homeowner came out and said, I don't live in Finasisu, I live in Esperito. But JC corrected if I'm wrong. He said, this area used to be known as Finasisu. But as time went on, it became Esperito. So in our proposed map, the Esperito Road that runs from Beach Road in Chalumpiao all the way up to the traffic light at, where Guangdong Hardware is. The center line of Esperito Road divides Esperito as you go up facing to the airport. To the right is Esperito, to the left is Pinasiso. But without a village delimitation map, master map, anyone's guess would be better than the next person's.
Thank you for that. And just to probably enlighten Mr. Han, I grew up here. I was born and raised here. We only had 9 villages growing up, believe it or not 34, not 73. There were only 9 villages here in the island of Saipan when I was growing up. So all these little other pockets, they were never villages to us. And we knew them as the general area of Garapan, which encompasses, I would say, the road where American Memorial Park is, all the way to Garapan would be closer to Quartermaster. That area, that whole area is Garapan to me because I grew up here, and the whole entire village of San Roque is San Roque all the way north to Marpi. That is San Roque, or district. We grew up with districts. That would be District 9, which is one village. So I can see the importance of having village boundaries. Whether it takes 5 proposed or draft maps, it makes no difference to me, because the general area is what is being identified. So I don't know if that helps you understand why maybe there's not so many drafts. And I don't know, I can't speak as to the mayor's office plans or previous discussions, but I would think that is what was happening when discussions about these maps, and they can correct me if I'm wrong. Another question as to, why there's not much more public notices. We experience it ourselves in the legislature. All our public hearings, we are required to notify all media, print media, television media, radio media, and we do so, but we can't control what they choose to cover or to publish. So even in other public hearings that we've had in the villages, it depends on whether the media will cover that or even publish it. We have the same frustrations when we do public hearings or announcements or things that we need to let the public know that are important. We try to do our best. Short of calling them up and saying, please publish this, we just have no control over the media, to be honest. Lastly, Mr. Hofschneider, would you mind explaining the different maps up here so we can understand it?
All right, so let me go up here. I hope the mic can reach the main system. So map number 1 is what census uses every 10 years to do the bicentennial census. And it has, if you count all the villages here, with the exception of Managaha, they included Managaha, Forbidden Island, and some other places. Bird Island. I don't know if anyone lives there. We'll have 73 villages that census identifies. So when they send out the enumerators to visit all the villages, they're assigned a specific area. But I don't know if those enumerators overlap or whoever was manning the effort back then. Along this road, you don't pass this road. If you go outside, you're in someone's territory. So this is 73 villages that census uses. And they also think it's too much. And I'm speaking for them. Their Central Statistics Division 2 staff, they're very knowledgeable on this. They're Justin Andrew and Fermin Sikisa. They're very good GIS operators. So they help our staff develop map 2. This is the 34 villages that we're submitting to the committee to consider including it in House Bill 22-82 and passing it and having the House pass it. So this is the 34 villages. We cut down 73 to 34. And just wanted to show you, because most people think the village boundaries change, the election precinct lines or boundaries change. We're not touching that. Whatever election commission has and has defined, maybe by statute or by regulations, that this is the election precinct boundaries, remain. And we overlaid the census map on the precinct map, just to show you. And here we have the proposed 34 villages overlaid on the precinct map, election precinct map. Again, we're not touching that election precinct map. We have no business doing that. So if anyone says, before the 34 villages became law, I used to live in Garapan. Now that the village boundary has shifted a little, or north, I'm now in Navy Hill or Walarai. That doesn't matter. It's still within the election precinct boundary. And this is the census map overlaid on our 34 villages. Census map overlaying proposed village, 34 villages. So we took map number 1 and overlaid the proposed 34 villages. Yeah. This one is the proposed village map, 34 overlaid on the election precinct map. Census map overlaid on the election precinct map.
Thank you. That is all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Hoff.
Checking the maps. I'd like to make another question to Mr. Hofschneider. Did you get any comment from DPS? Or making some maps? I believe DPS should be a part of the decision, making the map, because the real life of the public has a really important relationship with the DPS, the police, and the fire. Then we'd like to know how can I report this problem? How can the police can find my place? This is really an important issue. When we push this project, then there will be spent a lot of the taxpayers' money, and then there should be one or two standard or map for the whole every kind of need. There, if there's one good map, the sense people can use, DPS can use, the mayor's office can use, and ITNE can use too. And then here I'd like to say, you officers, are almost totally separated from the people. Please think on the basis of the people. Think about their life. Currently, in a sense, election time is only one time, the only time for people to communicate with the officials. We have to improve this situation. And people, we need multiple choice. Think about your school time. Every test time, examination time, we see multiple choice. Number 1, 2, 3, 4. We check. We choose one. It's very easy for people. But you say, oh, people, please make a comment on this project. No way. That question is just like college, graduate school examination. Think about just a high school, middle school test. From now, please, mayor's office and other governmental agencies should provide a multiple choice to people. Then, yes, people very busy and they don't have enough time to study. Just take a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then please provide the good points and some bad points of map 1, map 2, map 3, map 4. Then we can communicate enough. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Yes,
Chair,
Option.
Can I just add something?
Mr. Optionator. I almost call you Dr. Optionator.
That's all right. Either one's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Chair, DPS, Department of Public Safety, and Department of Fire and Emergency Medical Services are aware of this project. They know what we're doing. But to jump forward, the end result of what we're doing, Mr. Han, is going to be a very valuable tool for either DPS or DFEMS to develop its own real emergency 911 call system. The data that we're collecting and uploading on our GIS system would have the street address number, the street name. We also have the names of homeowners, the contact person for a commercial building. And we also have other attributes that we add, like look at that building over there. It's 5 stories high or tall. We'll have that data in our GIS system. So when DPS or DFEMS is ready, it's going to cost them a lot of money and a lot of man hours to develop that E911 system. In the future, hopefully it happens when you call from your home. The 911 operator would see your address. Let's say they put your name in Han or An 2111 Lizama Street, Garapan. Guess how much time DPS would spend trying to find that address as opposed to just what we have now? I think you cut their time down by 80%. They can get there a lot quicker and save your life if that's what they're going to do. So DPS and DFEMS are aware of our project. They're aware of the 34 proposed village names and boundaries. We've asked them to support our grant proposal. We wrote a grant proposal for, I think, $180,000. We're waiting for notification whether the Office of Insular Affairs would award us the grant or not. But part of that grant is to pay for, 5 years of GIS license. It costs money to use the GIS. And to hire additional staff to go out and ground truth every lot, every building that we have on site. Even parks, even basketball courts, we can do that, fire hydrants. So we're working hand in hand with those agencies. We're not ignoring them. We're not just keeping quiet and not saying anything to anyone else. The committee here is a good source for DPS and DFEMS to come and say, we support this or we oppose this. Don't do it. Everybody knows. We've been very open about this. And I think in one article in the paper, we also shared with the public that Mayor Apatang asked the speaker to sponsor the bill that we drafted, including the draft map that you see here, number 2. So, those are very good concerns, and thanks for bringing those up.
Thank you, Mr. Hofschneider. Any more? Any more questions? Yeah. Yes, sir, Rep. Celine.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Han, let me ask you, are you in favor of the bill or are you against this bill? Are you in favor of having 73 villages as opposed to 34? It seems from your comments that you at the very least, do not agree with the current bill as it is written. So I'm trying to find out what exactly.
I would like you to give people some more time. And how other people can access this bill?
Access the what? I'm sorry.
Access to this bill.
Access to
Where
that bill,
they
it's on the
download, from
legislative website, yes.
But ordinary people, they don't have enough time to access to other website except Mariana Variety or Saipan Tribune.
Okay.
And if there's you cannot control the media, the government there should be one point service website, and then you can find any especially the new bill, and then we don't have enough. Ordinary people don't have enough time to access to finance website and legislature website, mayor's office website. This one. Oh my goodness! Well, if someone is in favor of running for the seat on Capitol Hill, well, maybe can access this website, that website, but most people don't have time. Please think about the situation of the people. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm not
probably-
hearing, other than you wanted multiple drafts, possibly of
Yes.
maps that you may want to consider. This bill, by the way, was introduced October of last year, over 8 months ago. So I'm trying to understand
Yeah.
what
So
your
most people-
opposition
yeah.
is to this bill.
The ways to access important information, including government information, there are the media, Saipan Tribune and Marian Variety only. And then, okay, why do you think people don't come here?
I have no idea.
Easy. Well, they cannot answer to a difficult question. Make comment, please come to the public hearing, make comment. They don't want to do that. Most people don't like it. If you provide, here, there will be good maps for people, then this is map 1, map 2, map 3, map 4, then people will come. Because people don't want to want to make a thesis, a long answer. Just they want to, I like number 1, I like number 3. That's all, no more.
All this is putting lines. What this bill proposes is putting lines of where a village should be, because there is nothing right now.
Then I can agree to move forward, because then if there's some next step, to implement an important bill, because it may have can cause a serious situation for some people, not only this bill. well, there should be some multiple steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3. And then first step, there will be this situation. And next step, there will be more situation. Then people will be interested in your work, the works of officials.
Thank you. Can we get back to the agenda, the bill that is on the agenda? I'm trying to understand why you don't agree with this bill. It's our obligation to hear both sides, if any, or all public comments, and it appears to me that you're not in favor of this bill. Is that
The
correct?
important issue is you need to provide people to, if later, if they make some comments, when they have enough understanding, and there should be some possibility of amendment. And then this step, there will be some situation. The next step. And
Okay.
then, I want to say, soft landing of the new bill. If you just do something at one shot, then it will be hard landing. There will be some crash.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's what
I
I want
yield,
to say.
Madam Chair.
Thank you, Rep, and thank you, Mr. Hall. I want to say something. First of all, I contacted someone yesterday at KKMP to make the announcement today. No, I mean, yeah, this morning for this one. But we do not know why people are not here. They probably don't have gas. But we will have another gathering up, a meeting up at the legislature for this one. It's not finished yet. And Mr. Hofschneider and the team from mayor's office, they said they worked very hard on this, so they met a lot of people, I'm sure. And they will be doing a press conference Thursday. See, so it's still ongoing. This is not the last time for meeting yet. All right. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Hofschneider.
Chair, if I may. Mr. An, come over to my office and we'll talk. We'll look at the maps until you're tired of looking at them. We'll look at the bill until you're tired of reading them. At this point, I'm just going to say, let's move on. The committee is going to have another hearing, right? They're going to schedule it. Mayor and I and the team will have a press conference this week, Thursday, if the media is available. And we'll put this up and invite them to come in and take a look at the map in our office or anywhere that I think we can post this up on our website, and to submit questions or comments. You know, my experience, site and zoning law, when it was passed back in 2008, I was a board member, then I became chair. We had public hearings for over 3 weeks. It was tiring. It was like 3 times a week. But on some nights, many nights, only 2 people showed up, 3 people showed up. And the most we had was like 10. And we got really good comments. But we have to move on. This is something we need to do. Okay. Chair. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Hofschneider. Yes, Rep. Selena.
Thank you. Just one last question, I promise. I don't want to keep anybody here any longer than we have to. This compilation of documents, it says Kobler. I'm sorry, there's no cover, so I don't know who prepared this or what it is, but I'm assuming that this came from the Saipan Mayor's office? Okay, and I'm assuming this is like some kind of legal description as to where the boundaries are. Is that correct? A detailed. Okay. Okay. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Rep.
Just wanna
Selena.
make-
Any more?
Chair, can I just share something with
Yes,
the
Mr.
committee?
Hofschneider, go ahead.
We're gonna submit this document This is Saipan Municipal Ordinance number 72. And it's codified as Saipan Municipal Code 1 SMC 62 section 61(1). And then it has very good information in there. I think this municipal code hasn't been repealed. It hasn't expired. So it's still valid today. As you can see, section 1 changed the name of Oliai to San Jose. And in the other pages following that page, you'll have the description of District 1, District 2, District 3, just like Representative Bata said when she was growing up. Villages were referred to as districts. Some people chose Chalacanoa, Susupi, but those were very, very common names. So the 29 page notation that you received from JC and as the lead person, the team here developed is to walk you through. Let's say you're looking at Marpi Village. There's a point of beginning, and then it walks you through where that boundary goes. I don't think JC did anything to describe the coastline because there's not much there, but it's anything before the water is still land, so it's still in the village. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hofschneider. Yes, and this is where Mr. Ha comes in, because probably from this Oliai village here, maybe not a lot of people attended the meeting. Thank you, Mr. Ha.
Well, you have your team, Chair, if I may, just take a look at the Sinai code to see if that has been changed back to Olia.
Okay, we will. Thank you. Any more questions? Yes, Mr. Ha.
I was thinking the name Olia is north of the Toyota, north of Toyota and San Jose, south. Well, is it the same area?
San Jose and Oliai, that's one area, but San Jose is the name of the church. Oliai is the name of the village. But from this one over here, see, from the Saipan Municipal Code, says they changed Oliai village to San Jose village. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's confusion from the Google map. You can check online. That has Oliai, the name Oliai next to AP, San Jose. And
Okay.
it's following that Google map.
Yeah. So, yeah, maybe that's why we need that. Okay. But keep Oliai.
Yeah, in a sense, if we vote, I'd like to vote for Olia. The name very
I will
good.
vote for you too, Mr. Ha. Thank you. Any more?
I have nothing else, Chair, unless my team has anything to say. Or the committee members, any questions?
I don't have a question, Mr. Chairwoman, but I do like to have to make a comment. You're right, Mr. Han. Mr. Han, your name is Mr. Han, correct?
H-U-H. H-U-H.
H-U-H, Mr. Ha. Okay.
You left, you will stop, right?
Say again?
When you laugh,
When you left,
you go,
what sound, what noise you will make, you will sound.
Okay, I got you, Mr. Ha. All right, thank you. Well, before I came here, I was meeting some people before this event tonight. They have suggested, because you have said it, that we go around because some of this village will be affected. We want to hear their story. So I, as a member, I would like to suggest that we go south. And now we're in the central, and then we also go to the north. And then at the end, we like to see it at the house chamber. So you with your press conference, that will probably help us to bring more people in on our next hearing, public hearing. Thank you.
Wait.
High school test okay. College level test.
Thank you. I want to say something about that one, Mr. Lizama. We did set up in the different precincts, but the mayor's office, they want to move on with their work, so they recommended that we have it here, and then we will have it up at the legislature, and then they will have the press conference, right? Just so we can move on. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Hofschneider.
We'll have the press conference before the meeting in the legislature, so that
Oh, yes, yes. Okay.
members of the public would have the opportunity to submit comments or show up at the meeting in the legislature.
Okay,
or at the
all right.
legislature.
Good, thank you. Any more? We're good? Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming. That will be it. Next will be the press conference. Then after that, the meeting up at the legislature on the 28th. If, whatever, okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Miscellaneous. Next on the agenda is miscellaneous. Anything? Okay. All right, the next one is adjournment. Okay. All right, it has been moved and seconded. Thank you. That's